Joining me now, Chris Kofinis, Democratic strategist and former chief of staff for Senator Joe Manchin, and Brian Darling, Republican strategist and former senior communications director and counsel for Senator Rand Paul. Gentlemen, good morning to you. Let's get right into it. I want to play for you what Senator Bernie Sanders said at a rally for Dreamers outside the Capitol last night.
We want a government that functions not on a month-to-month basis, but on a basis which addresses the real crises facing the American people. It's time that we pass the DREAM Act and a path toward citizenship.
Brian, give me a percentage breakdown, if you can, how much this is politics, how much this is policy.
Well, I think it's 50-50. I mean, a lot of it is politics, and I do think Bernie Sanders is right in one sense. I do think it's a problem that Congress continues to do continuing resolutions. I also think it's a problem that the Senate and the House waited till Thursday to send over a continuing resolution, and the Senate didn't vote until just 2 hours before the government shutdown. It made it hard to start the negotiations. But make no doubt about it. I mean, Democrats are filibustering a bill that they support. This is a Schumer shutdown in the sense that Democrats support everything in this bill, everything in this continuing resolution, and they even sweetened it in the House and added in the children's health care funding to make it a long-term appropriations. To make it even better for Democrats, and they still voted no. So Democrats are taking this bill hostage, and they just need to own it.
Do you agree, Chris? I mean, Republicans certainly want to label this the Schumer shutdown. Are they right?
Well, the American people, I don't think, are going to see it that way, and you see the early polls don't see it that way. This is the first time in this country's history that a party that controls the White House, the Senate, and the House can't keep government working. I mean, the irony here is, to your question about whether this is politics or policy, this is 100% politics. The Republicans are facing in November a Democratic wave. You're seeing all the signs. They need a base that's energized. They have chosen an issue that, even though there are members of their own party, like Senator Graham and others, or Senator Flake, in terms of immigration, and DACA, where there's a deal on the table, they don't want to do it because they want to energize their base. Anyone who thinks the Democrats just woke up and had nothing better to do, so let's shut down the government over immigration, are missing the point that Republicans wanted this to happen.
Speaking of waking up, we have evidence the president is up, everybody. He is tweeting already on this Saturday morning. Here's what the president has written. Democrats are far more concerned with illegal immigrants than they are with our great military or safety at our dangerous southern border. They could have easily made a deal, but decided to play shutdown politics instead. We need more Republicans in 18 in order to power through the mess. What's your reaction to that, Chris?
Well, I mean, this is a president who loves to tweet and doesn't necessarily love to negotiate. I mean, if you want to have a deal, if you want to actually get things done in Congress, if you want to actually get things done between the White House and Congress, you have to start negotiating before, let's say, a couple days before the deadline. And this, I think, is the frustration that people have with this president. He loves to just throw these barbs either at the other side or, in many cases, his own side. But he doesn't do the hard work of actually sitting down, understanding the details, and negotiating to try to figure out a compromise that actually works for the country. He has talked about DACA. He's talked about, that we need a bill that is a bill of love. Well, this is neither. And so this is, I think, the frustration that people have, that this president likes to talk and tweet, but doesn't like to do and act.
So Brian, the president he puts it all under the umbrella of illegal immigrants. He just did that again in this tweet. For many Democrats, DACA is a core value. It's not political for them. Do you think this shutdown is making Republicans realize that? Do you think this at all helps get a deal on DACA as we move forward?
Oh, I think at some point there may be a deal, but the shutdown, I think many Democrats are worried that they're overplaying their hands. I mean, you have 4 Democrats who are in cycle right now that voted for the appropriations bill because they see a little bit of danger in this. And Doug Jones, in very conservative Alabama, he voted for this bill too. So I think
he voted for it because of CHIP. He said that's what he promised for his Alabamans. He said he wanted that children's health insurance policy to continue. That's why he voted for it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he says. I mean, I think he's in a pretty conservative state, and in 2020 he wants to win re-election, so he's probably hedging. But when you look at this, I mean, I just think that Democrats are playing a little bit of a dangerous game. They can't take it too far. If they keep the government shut down well into next week, I think this turns on them. I think the polling will turn on them because the American people will realize that although they support the Democrats' position on DACA, I mean, there is support for it. They don't support an extended government shutdown on a bill that has nothing to do with DACA. And they know that the Democrats would get another bite at the apple anyways when this continuing resolution runs out in a month.
Alex.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Here's the problem. It's really simple for the American people to understand. The Republicans control all levers of government. The notion that you're going to blame Democrats when Republicans literally have every chamber and the White House is comical on its face.
Yeah, but that's disingenuous. I mean,
it is not disingenuous. It is a fact.
There's a majority of Republicans in the House that voted for this continuing resolution. There's a majority in the Senate that supports this continuing resolution to pass. The thing that's blocking it is a filibuster. So,
it is the obligation of the governing party to actually negotiate a compromise that gets things done. If you're going to be in power, there's a responsibility that comes with power. And if you don't have a supermajority, as they do not in the Senate, you have to figure out a compromise. This is not a mystery thing. This is simple math. Republicans chose not to do it. And then you have to ask yourself why. And the reason why is simple: politics.
Well, I predict that Democrats are not going to let this go too long. They will cave because they know they get another bite at the apple. They can just say, we shut the government down in the past. We'll do it again in the future if you don't give us a deal.
All right, guys, that's all for now. We're going to come back and talk about what a difference a year makes. Look where we are today and look where we were with the inauguration 1 year ago today. All right, we've taken you through all the political chaos.